Okay, Doug?
Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, let me clear something up. There is not a palm tree growing out of my head. This is just my really great Sideshow Bob impression. Bart, I'll get you yet. Okay, happy Mother's Day, everybody. It's a wonderful time when Mother's Day and the confluence of Mother's Day and Not Church come together. It gets me thinking of my mom. For those of you who have joined Not Church in the fairly recent times, this is our 11th year of rolling with Not Church, and my mom was instrumental in the first Not Church. She came to live with us 11 years ago and didn't last all that long because she had to be near her doctor. There was no other way, so she went back to Pennsylvania. But what did last is the creation of this gathering, and she wanted a church experience when she was here, and we took her to a couple of local churches, and nothing was really working. Nothing was what she wanted it to be, and we wanted to go with her, but we couldn't go to a really organized religious event and in good faith, pun intended. So we came up with this idea of Not Church, of a gathering of people with like-minded spirit who wanted to each continue their own search, their own quest in whatever way they could, in the company of other people, without any requirements, without any obligations. Many gatherings of a spiritual nature require, for example, a belief in a certain deity or a certain belief system has to be part of what you acknowledge as true prior to participating. Here, that's not the case. There's no requirement of anything, and it's a wonderful exploration for everybody who is involved in it, because it allows you to continue your quest, whatever that quest is, in the company of other people, and there's nothing required of you to do so. And the fact that it's been going on for 11 years, I think, is quite a testament to its longevity. And I think one of the big reasons for that longevity is the continued influx of new people and new ideas. And over the years, that's been true. And for example, Beatrice and Rose are now at the helm of Not Church and have been for a little while. And they're bringing their ideas and where they think this should go. And I think that overall, and now, of course, with Zoom, Not Church is a global phenomenon. It used to just be those of us who live here in Baja. But now it's anyone who wants to chime in from anywhere. And even when there are in-person gatherings and mask mandates are falling away, we're still doing this on Zoom. And I think that's in order to include as many people as possible from around the world. So it's a pretty magical thing, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. I think one of the other great things about Not Church is that the topics that people choose to talk about are generally or often really in tune with things that are going on with us right now in our lives. Like today, it's 7 ways to feel more in control even when life feels otherwise. And I think just events in the world in the not too distant past and really immediate past have us all feeling a little out of control. What is going on? How can we do something about it? And we can't necessarily solve all those problems, but we can ask questions, and we can each pursue our own path and find some sort of resolution. So once again, welcome to you all, and happy Mother's Day where applicable. I hope this is a wonderful day for all of you. And we welcome, I see Marlene, who I believe is our guest speaker, is just chiming in. Hi there, Marlene, welcome. And when I say welcome to Not Church, that means welcome to you, whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe, whatever your intention is, whatever you hope to get out of it, you are all welcome at any time. And that's a wonderful feeling, and it's something that we all share each month, and it just keeps going, and we're really glad to be a part of it. Welcome. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy Mother's Day again. Thank you, Doug. That was excellent. I enjoyed that. I feel very welcomed and included. Mark Twain is quoted as saying, "I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which have never happened." We can tie ourselves up in knots, worrying about what might happen, or our buttons get pushed and we react to a situation in a habitual pattern tied to events from long, long ago, and we spin out of control. I'm looking forward to hearing our invited speaker, Marlene, talk about the 7 ways to feel more in control. Some of us are more prone to control than others. But in challenging situations, we would all prefer our best self making the decisions instead of spinning off into past hurts or possible catastrophes, all of which make a difficult situation worse. One thing I know for sure is that one way to stop reacting to stories about what might happen in a challenging situation is to just stop, to widen the gap between stimulus and reaction. And like anything else, it's much easier to do when we've practiced. A simple meditation practice of stopping, letting go, and breathing can prepare us for the challenging situations we inevitably encounter. So we're going to practice for a few minutes. Please get comfortable, wiggle around a little to find your sweet spot. You can rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes or keep them open if you prefer. Let's take a couple of calming breaths. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And again, from deep in your belly, feel your chest expand. Pull it all the way up to your head. Hold it for a couple seconds and let it out slowly. One more big, deep breath in. Hold it and release. Now let your shoulders relax. Keep your back straight to help the air move easily and follow your amazing, miraculous breath. It's been with you from the moment you were born, and it's there to always comfort you. As Thich Nhat Hanh advised, we just allow our breath to take place. Become aware of it and enjoy it. Slow and easy. Locate the spot where you feel the breath come in and recognize that you're breathing in. Let it go and know that you're breathing out. We don't have to make an effort to stop thinking. We just bring our attention to our breath and bring it back to our breath over and over again. Follow the breath all the way in and all the way out with your attention. We'll continue for a few minutes, breathing in and breathing out, and I'll sound a bell when it's time to stop. Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Nadine. That was absolutely wonderful. And thank you, Doug. And it's interesting that in the mentioning of Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the things that after studying with him for many years was learning to live in here and now. And there's a song that the sisters from Plum Village sing called Happiness is Here and Now. I'd like to share that song with you. It's about 2 minutes. And then after that, Beatrice has some words on happiness before she introduces the speaker. So.
Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do, but not in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. No longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries. Somewhere to go, something to do, but not in a
No problem. That was beautiful. Thank you. So I'm going to talk briefly about happiness and why it's so important. So historically, we've always focused on what's wrong with people. And as you know, this is mental, as I mentioned, maybe not all of you heard, this is Mental Health Month. And so historically, we've always looked at, what's wrong. And thanks to Freud, also, you had to be extra careful what you said and did because, everything was overanalyzed. So in 1998, Martin Seligman, who was the president of the American Psychological Association, began looking at things differently. And he wanted to look at what makes people happy. And he developed positive psychology. So positive psychology is the scientific study of the positive aspects of the human experience that make life worth living, focusing both on individual and societal well-being. So some of what has been studied is positive experiences, for example, how happy people are, the joy, inspiration, and love that they feel. And also positive states and traits like gratitude, resilience, and compassion. And positive institutions are institutions applying positive principles and entire organizations. What comes to mind for me when I read that is Google, being able to stop and let their employees play and have fun toys and, cafeteria and take good care of their staff, right? It's very different than a lot of the institutions we're used to working in. So part of the positive psychology has been a lot of studies that are looking at where are the happiest places in the world? What makes people happy and why being happy is so important. So in 2022, the World Happiness Report came out to determine the world's happiest country. And they looked at 149 countries over the last 3 years, and they looked at gross domestic products per capita, social support, healthy life experiences, freedom to make your own life choices, generosity of the general population, and perceptions of internal and external corruption levels. Do you want to know which are the 7 top happiest places in the world? Okay. So interesting, they are all in Northern European countries. So the top 7 happiest places are Finland, Denmark, Switzerland, Iceland, the Netherlands, Norway, and Sweden. And they also pay a lot of taxes there and have a lot of other benefits. Well, taxes, it's still happy, but a lot of other benefits. And the US ranked number 19, and Mexico ranked 35. And then they looked at the 5 least happiest countries. And these were, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this one right, Lesotho, Botswana, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and Afghanistan. So why is being happy such a big deal, right? The reason why happiness is so important is because it has so many positive benefits. And they include happiness creates success, it strengthens your immune system, it improves your productivity, it lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease, and it lengthens your life expectancy. So raise your hand if you think that people can learn to be happy. Okay, this is great. So most of you, I can only see about 5 of you right now, but that's good. So yes, that's the good news. You can learn to be happy. And life will have ups and downs, but it's your feelings that determine your happiness and how you handle those life situations, right, that come along. So increasing your happiness sounds like a big task, but sometimes it can be a simple activity that can have a profound impact on your mood, that can pick you up. So studies show that happiness isn't based on whether or not your basic needs are met, your life circumstances, accomplishing your goals, or having whatever material things you have, which is interesting. There are a lot of people that may not have, that have bare necessities or barely some of their necessities and are very happy. So oftentimes we say, oh, when I get to this, I'm going to be happy. When I have that, I'm going to be happy. And it's not always the case, right? Because then you want something else, or you're still feeling that sense that you're not happy. So here are some ways to increase your happiness. Some of the ways that you can increase your happiness is thinking positively. And if that's something that's challenging for you, one of the best ways to do it is every time you catch yourself, just stop and say it in a different way. Reframe it. Instead of I hate, I'm learning to love this, or I'm excited about learning this, because it also puts your mind in a totally different place. The minute you say certain words like I hate this, I can't stand it, I have to, then part of your brain that's open to learning shuts down. So you always want to be open. So thinking positive, and also positive thoughts have a higher vibration than negative thoughts. So that's something to keep in mind. Not that you want to worry about, oh, I said something negative. No, it's still so much more when you have a positive word than negative. Also having quality relationships and spending time with people that you love and you enjoy, or that you have fun with, right? That you laugh with. There's also laughter. Laughter, I think, is great for feeling happy. There's some therapy that you just laugh. And when you laugh, it releases other chemicals in your body. When you have tears from laughter, the chemicals are different than when you cry and from sadness. When you have tears from sadness, the chemical composition is different than when you have tears from laughter. You use different muscles, and there's a lot of science to it, which is fascinating. Other things that can bring you joy is being creative, practicing gratitude. That's really huge, because the more you're grateful for, the more things that come your way to be grateful for. Also, journaling could be a nice way to learn more about yourself, to be appreciative, to express and release. There's also spending time in nature, whether it's the beach that you enjoy, or the mountains, or just sitting out among the beautiful trees like behind Doug. Being in nature is very helpful. Being in the sunshine, there's a lot of positive things about receiving that warmth from the sun and being around the sun. Also music, whether it's listening to it or dancing if you like to dance, or singing, can really put you in a very joyous place. And yes. Also exercising. Some of us love it. Some of us are learning to love it. Some of us have a great relationship with it, but exercise can help you feel better, which also elevates your mood. And meditations are wonderful for increasing your happiness. And it could be a 5-minute, 3-minute meditation, but really just learning to calm down and become an observer of yourself. Like, oh yeah, I did this, and I could have said it this way or done this other way, to also help with becoming more positive. And there's a lot of resources, on YouTube, on the internet, for quick meditations, for self-love, all types of things that are wonderful. And there's a lot of articles and YouTube videos on ways to become happier and be happier. There's also a lot of wonderful motivational speakers like Tony Robbins, that is very good about helping you look at, how exciting it is to be alive, and how exciting that we're here right now, that we're alive, that we're healthy, that we can do all the things that we're able to do. And then there's also support groups, and there's always therapy. If you ever need help looking at, okay, maybe oftentimes a lot of our behaviors are learned behaviors. So if we come from negativity, if that's all we know, critical parents or negative parents, you can learn to undo that with therapy. So that's a little bit on happiness. And now I'm going to introduce Dr. Marlene Ochetti, who's a wonderful friend who brings me lots of happiness all the time. And Marlene has been a licensed clinical social worker in California since 1975. She obtained her MSW from USC. She has a master's in art therapy from Cal State University, LA, and a PhD in marriage, family, and child therapy from the California Graduate Institute. She worked for LA Unified School District, where we met, for 23 years. And she was a psychiatric social worker, an administrator. She's done a million things in the district, and that's how we met. And now she also taught at USC. She was teaching social work practice in schools. And now she has her own private practice, and she does online therapy. And she also, let's see, there's so much to say about Marlene.
That's enough.
This is all the educational and amazing things about her, and there's so much more to her. So Marlene believes strongly in resilience and strength and self-empowerment of her clients, even in the face of experienced trauma, loss, and relational difficulties. And Marlene loves to inspire and motivate. One of her favorite sayings is, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." Marlene lives in Rancho Cucamonga with her husband, John, who's a retired school psychologist and also a wonderful man, and her dog, Coco. So Marlene and I met through the school district, and there were a lot of changes going on, and we had just walked out of a meeting. and we were both talking about retiring and pursuing our dreams. And so I was writing a children's book, and I said, well, I'm looking for an illustrator. And Marlene says, well, I've illustrated. And I said, oh yeah, let me see what you do. And her work was so beautiful that she illustrated my children's book. And Marlene is just, like I say, a wonderful, wonderful person, great friend. And I'm very honored and excited and grateful that she's here to share her wisdom with us. And she'll be talking about the 7 ways to feel more in control, even when life feels otherwise. So thank you, Marlene, for being here.
Thank you, Beatrice, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you, everyone. First of all, of course, happy Mother's Day to one and all. And I want to say Beatrice is she is a wonderful friend to me, very supportive, very encouraging. And I'm sure for those of you, everyone knows that Beatrice is just, she's great. And she's been very modest, of course, because when I was teaching at USC, Beatrice was a regular guest speaker in my classes and imparted her knowledge and experience to the students. So thank you for that, Beatrice. Really, really appreciate that and appreciate you. I also want to add that as I was listening to, first of all, let me say my apologies for entering into your group a little bit early. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I hope that wasn't, I hope that was okay. And also to add that it's a pleasure to be here, first of all. Thank you for the invite. And I wanted to add that as you were talking about happiness, I was thinking, I don't know if there's really any need for me to give my presentation because you were touching on so many aspects already of feeling more in control because that's connected. So thank you. And also Nadine for her breathing exercise because that's a strategy also. So if I say something that's, if I'm repeating what you've already heard, well, my apologies for that. Okay, so let me get started. I want to share my PowerPoint with you. And so I'm hoping, okay, Beatrice, you gave me permission. I see that. Let me share. Okay, and then I will put it from the beginning. Let's see. At least that's my plan. Okay, all right. 7 ways to feel more in control, of course, when life feels otherwise is the topic for this morning. And these are just 7 strategies. There are, of course, many more. Beatrice, if you want to add something, if anyone wants to, to add to my presentation with with a comment, feel free to do so. Okay. So let me get started with, we cannot control everything around us. That is a truism. I love this saying by Maya Angelou, you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. And certainly, I think that many of us, if not all of us, might say that the past few years have been very challenging in terms of global events, in terms of just the terms of the political scene here in the US, in terms of the economy. Maybe we've had our own personal crisis. So these are all events that we simply do not necessarily have control over, but we can control how we're responding. And that's a point that I wanted to make. So here is something to consider, is giving oneself permission. We'll look at each point here. Connection, not isolation. We'll talk about tapping into what feeds you, the 4-7-8 breath, the meaning of self-expression, and what I love, ecotherapy, and ending with you do have control. And of course, May is Mental Health Month. All right. So number 1 is give yourself permission. What does that mean? That means to allow yourself to acknowledge your feelings. I think that oftentimes we feel, oh, I'm not allowed to be upset or angry or feel confused. I have to be strong all the time. I'm not able to ask for help. I'm not able to really just to express how I'm feeling. So what I'm saying is that it is okay to give yourself permission to have your feelings. Not that we have to stay in those feelings forever and a day, but it is all right to say, I feel sad, I feel confused about this. And to be able to ask for help when we need to is important. So that's number one. Number two is the importance of connection, which Beatrice did touch upon. And that is, we know that it is very important to be socially connected with others. And in fact, being isolated is not good for our mental health. It's important that we feel a sense of belongingness and as I said, connection to others. And so when we do that, it actually helps us to lower our stress levels and to feel heard and to feel understood. And we're doing the same for the other person too. So it's mutual, it's interrelated in that sense. So we do want to have that sense of connection. It's very important. All right. Next point is tap into what feeds you. This can be different for different individuals, but for some, it's about their faith or their spiritual beliefs. And we know that that can give a sense of structure, that can give a sense of understanding ourselves within a broader context. It can give us support. So if that is something that is important to a person, then they can tap into their faith and or spirituality. For others, it may be about engaging in meditative practices or reflecting upon their life, their journey, their personal philosophy. Also, I think it's important to engage in positive affirmations. And what we say to ourselves about ourselves is very important. So if we can just imagine, I have a saying just about for an affirmation, just for about practically everything, and I can pull one down at the drop of a hat because I find that it's useful and it helps me to feel more centered and more grounded. Writings. I personally love the writings of Anja Mailu. I've read several of her books. I love her book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I can just really, it resonated with me. So you may have your own particular authors, writers that you enjoy reading, philosophers. Tap into whatever feeds you. And of course, being mindful. Being mindful means being present, being aware, sort of letting the background noise sort of disappear for a moment and focusing on what's happening. So whatever you feel is useful for you, I encourage you to tap into that, what feeds you, to feel more in control. Okay. Next is self-regulation through breathing. And we did have that breathing exercise. I love participating in that. And so I will just speak a little bit about the 4-7-8 breath in case you've not heard of it. But this is a technique that I actually encourage all of my clients to utilize. I model it for them, teach it to them because it's very, I think it's very important to be able to self-regulate. And so by practicing it in the sequence, it really helps our brain to calm itself down. I think that many of you may be aware of Dr. Andrew Weil, W-E-I-L, and he is the one, as far as I know, he is the one who develop this particular way of breathing. So I'll just explain it to you, and then if you like, we can practice for a moment. He recommends doing 4 cycles of this breath, but we won't do 4 cycles. We'll just maybe do 2. So if you would like to participate, what I would ask of you is to just simply get comfortable. And you can have your eyes open or closed, whatever feels most relaxing to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in through the nose for 4. We're going to hold for 7, and we will exhale for 8. We'll do that, all right? So if you're ready, I'll count for you, and then whoever would like to participate, please feel free. Okay, so breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, wonderful. Let's just do it one more time. So if you're ready, breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, thank you for practicing that. As I said, Dr. Weil recommends that you do this cycle of breathing 4 times, 4 times in a row, twice a day. And then after about 4 weeks or so, you'll begin to feel differently. You'll begin to feel just a little bit more internally calm. And what he says, the way that this works, according to Dr. Weil, is that we are really teaching our sympathetic nervous system to learn how to calm itself down. As we breathe, we can breathe consciously, as we just did with our breath, or we breathe in an involuntary manner, of course. And so what this is doing, it's really tapping into the sympathetic nervous system and helping that. It's a process, which I cannot explain the process, but it helps induce the involuntary nervous system to learn to regulate itself more. So what I ask of my clients is that when they're feeling anxious, when they're feeling upset, when they're feeling angry, to practice this particular breathing in this sequence. And my experience has been with my clients that when they do this on a regular basis, they report back that they feel calmer and they feel more regulated. So I encourage those who would like to try that to do the 4, 7, 8 breath in that sequence. Okay. All right, next is self-expression, which I absolutely could talk about for hours and hours, but I won't. So self-expression is important because it allows us another way to express our thoughts and feelings. And in doing so, we can express what may not be able to be verbalized. That is, that our feelings, our emotions can come through drawing or painting or pottery, singing, dancing. It really, whatever, it doesn't matter the modality, it is the self-expression. And so it's not about perfection. It's not about saying that, oh, I have to do this, paint this a certain way, or having judgments. It's about losing oneself in the activity and enjoying the act of playing an instrument, the act of creating poetry, whatever it is. And I'm sure there are other ways of means of self-expression that are not on this list. This is just what I thought of in the moment, but it's very useful. It helps us to feel more in control because we are focused on an activity. We're focused on something that we're enjoying, that we're creating something pleasurable. And so it just kind of takes us away from whatever it is that might be troubling in the moment and allows us a chance to relax ourselves into this, into our creative expression. Now, this is something that I'm so excited to talk about, even though it's relatively new to me. Well, actually, okay, it is new to me, ecotherapy. And so I become very interested in ecotherapy, which is it's an emerging field. And what it is, it talks about the connection and the interrelationship between a person and nature, their environment, and the environment and that person. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to share this very short video clip with you about the mental health benefits of getting outside, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Physical benefits to walking and hiking are fairly obvious to people, but most people don't recognize that there's mental health benefits. Walking just in itself has shown to reduce levels of anxiety and depression, and actually can be preventative in some cases of depression. But there's even more evidence now that doing it in nature, in natural surroundings, improves those results even further. Something about being in nature is calming to humans. We seek environments that seem calming and protective to us. And so they've actually started to show that people's brains work differently when they're in nature compared to when they're in an urban setting. So it's thought that being in a natural setting can change the way that we think, and that affects our emotions, and it reduces our anxiety levels and our stress levels. When you're in nature, there's a thought that different parts of your brain are activating, the parts that are related to being on edge or being calmed down, and so that leads to physical changes too. So reductions in your blood pressure, reductions in your heart rate, and again, it's calming those areas of your brain that are related to stress and anxiety. Certainly you do not have to go climb a mountain to get the mental health benefits of hiking. Going to a park, going to a green space, any amount of time that you can spend outside in nature in an environment that is comfortable to you is worth it. Even if it's just 10 minutes on your lunch break, getting outside, stretching your legs, seeing the sunshine, all of those things can be helpful for people. Mental health benefits can impact anyone. It doesn't have to be someone who's depressed or anxious at baseline that's going to get benefits from this. It's anyone on any given day who's a little bit stressed out, maybe they've got a deadline coming up. You're going to get that benefit from getting out into nature, even just for a little bit amount of time.
Okay, so being in nature can help us to feel more in control, to feel more relaxed. I came across some interesting studies regarding ecotherapy, and one study shared that there was a study of patients who were recovering in a hospital from, I think, from surgery or some type of illness. One group of patients were in a room where they could look out and see greenery and trees. And the other group they were placed in rooms where they looked at a blank wall. Well, it's not, I imagine, not too surprising that those who could look out at the outside their window and see the trees seemed to have a better recovery, and to state that they felt less pain and they felt more relaxed versus those who were looking out at a blank wall. Also, there was another interesting study that talked about office workers who were in their office space, and when they had a view of the outside, again, the trees and nature, that they felt happier and more productive than those workers who did not. So ecotherapy is very, as I said, it's an emerging field. It's one where I learned that doctors in Canada and in the US are now prescribing nature if you will, nature or nature walks to their patients, and that these patients are able to enter into national parks and not have to pay the fee when they have a prescription from their physician, which is very interesting. So for my clients who have expressed, who have had symptoms of, let's say, depressed mood, I've encouraged them to go out into nature for 20 minutes a day, if possible, to look and hear the birds chirping, to feel the warmth of the sun, to look at the greenery, the flowers, and so forth. And so this is something that I've incorporated into my work, and I want to learn more about ecotherapy. I'm very, very interested in it. All right, and then lastly, oops, sorry, okay, to move forward. Oh, this is more ways to increase exposure to greenery. So what they found is that one can benefit simply by having houseplants in the home, or doing gardening, having a screensaver on your computer, looking at paintings. So it isn't always what's of course lovely to be outdoors, but just having the greenery in one's home can be very therapeutic and very beneficial. And I think that we always felt that or knew that intuitively, but now there's more and more research to back this up. All right. And then lastly, I think it's important to consider what we do have control over, and what we say to ourselves about ourselves, the self-talk, is very important. Our perspective, our attitude. So if we want to think just for a moment about the cognitive triangle, and if we think of the apex here as being our thoughts coming in, our thoughts impact our feelings and our behavior. So when we are addressing the thoughts that we have, we're going to, we can create a shift in how we feel, and then how we behave, how we act. So our perspective, our attitude, again, we may not have, and oftentimes we don't have control over events that are happening, but what is our attitude toward that? We can have control over how we treat ourselves. Are we engaging in self-care? Do we put ourselves last? Are we always attending to others and we never care about ourselves? That's an important aspect. And how we treat others. And we can have control over our goals in as much as possible. So again, this paradigm shift, just shifting and changing sometimes our approach, can engender in us feelings of having more control. It's important to remember we do have control over much in our lives. All right. And then finally, our final thoughts is May is Mental Health Month. And so when should we consider seeking help? Again, when we're feeling overwhelmed, we're having difficulty functioning, meaning we're not sleeping, we're not eating, we're unable to work, we're unable to do our usual activities, we're not interested, we've withdrawn from others, we're not connected, we're relying on substances to get us through. Maybe there's a marked change in our personality. Maybe others have commented on that, or maybe others have expressed a concern about how we're doing. Or if we're having excessive fear, worry, and anxiety. I would encourage anyone to reach out and to seek help. There's no stigma attached to seeking help. It's an important, it's just as important as going to the doctor for maybe another type of medical condition. So I think it's important to destigmatize mental health, very much so. All right, so I'm going to stop the share there and just thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that there were some strategies that either that you'll continue to do, or maybe something that you've thought of, or something that will help you, will help all of us actually as we navigate through these times.
Any questions, anyone? Thank you, Marlene. You mentioned important things with the spiritual that I left out. And also, you know, happy people are healthier. As I mentioned, they're healthier. They tend to eat healthier and exercise. All those things contribute to physiologically feeling better. And also keep an eye out for Marlene's book. She is part Black and part Japanese. And so she has a passion for helping children that are multicultural and multi-ethnic. And she is working on a book right now that she hopes to be out by the end of summer. So we look
Thank
forward to
you.
your book. Thank you, Marlene, for being here.
Thank you,
for that
Beatrice, and
information.
thank you to the members here. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and wishing you a great rest of the day and a great week.
Likewise, Mother's Day. Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Does anyone have any announcement? Beatrice, I know you wanted to say something about one of our upcoming events.
Yes, ladies, save the date for June 21st. Is it 21st? Yes, June 21st. My mind, I was saying 12. June 21st, we are going to have a goddess solstice celebration at Quinta Delfín, or the LA the Performing Arts, La Misión Performing Arts Center. So save that date. More details to come on that. And Rose and I will also be visiting some retreat centers in Ensenada and in Tijuana for further collaboration and potential retreats. And yeah, those are the ones that I know of.
And also, I think just a reminder to make sure that you check tranquilobaja.com website for any updates. And there's lots of ongoing programs every week. So just check us out. Most of you, I think, are part of one of the groups. And so just look there for any extra announcements that might be coming. And thank you all for attending. And I see Rita with her hand up. Go ahead, Rita. Do you want to say something? You have to unmute yourself.
Yes. Okay. Am I unmuted now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I just wanted to comment that Richard and I have recently moved. We've been in our new house in the country. It's time to go to the country, and we are in it. And we have been here like 2.5 months, and we gave up a place that we lived in for 26 years and came here. And it's been a total change for us, but we are looking at nature every day. We are hiking practically every day. It's out, the outdoors here is fabulous. So we didn't know we were doing ecotherapy, but now we're realizing that that's the shining part of our life.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Absolutely. What you were talking about is so important, and just acknowledge you and thank you for that, because we're living it right now, and it's so meaningful to us every single day to get out for an hour and hike in the woods and hike in the mountains.
Yes, and a lot of us in Baja have access to the ocean, to looking at it, walking along the beach, which is also wonderful, on the mountains too. So thank you both.
I see Nadine's hand up.
Right, and also a comment on getting out in nature. There is a wonderful woman here in Ensenada. I've done forest bathing twice, and the woman here was absolutely fantastic. I actually enjoyed her session more than the one that I did in Yosemite. She was really fantastic. Her name is Paula Pijuan. Her family owns the winery And she taught meditation in Spain, and she knows all the plants, and she's just a lovely, lovely human being. And I highly recommend signing up with her for an outing. We went to a hidden little place that you wouldn't even know was there, with trees and forests and streams, and it was just really fantastic. So highly recommend contacting her. I'm not sure, we may have her information on the Tranquilo website. We talked about putting it up there. I don't know if it actually is, but what's it called? Something, Respira Bosque.
Oh, Respira Bosque. So it's like
And-
forced breathing.
Right. And it's really, really wonderful. I can't recommend it enough for a day out in nature, right here in Ensenada, close by.
Yeah, I think that's a field trip that we need to organize. So I'll get on that because we've talked about it and we have other things that we've been thinking about. But yeah, I'll follow up on that.
The only thing I would say about that is to do it sooner than later, because when we had originally planned it, it was just way too hot. So it needs to be done earlier months rather than getting into July and August. It gets a little toasty out there in Ensenada, out in the Valle. It's just at the beginning of the Valle where she takes people, but it's just really, really a lovely, lovely experience.
Thank you.
I see John's hand up.
Yes, hi. Several things. One is she talked about nature bathing, and I was thinking, well, yesterday was Naked Gardening Day. But I'm not sure that was the same. Also, if you like nature and sports, you can consider playing pickleball because it's great. You do get out in nature, you're kind of socially distanced, and it's a lot of fun and good exercise. But actually, the real reason I wanted to talk about this is because of one of our former not church members, Maggie Carius, my friend. She passed away the same day I went into my coma, and we're having a life celebration for her on the 20th of this month in Rosarito. There's one actually this week up in San Diego that her brother's having. So if anybody is interested in that, please PM me via Facebook, or you can email me. As you see, my name, John Seeley, MA, is it's on Facebook, but it's also an email address, john@johnseeleyma.com. And I'll send you the information. We're going to do a little celebration at potluck on the 20th. It's a Friday afternoon, and be on the ocean, so it'd be lovely. And so if anybody is interested, please let me know.
Perfect. Thank you. I also want to put in Carmen, you have your hand up? Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask where is it going to be, John? You know,
It's going to be a private residence around K40.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Did I see Renee's hand up? Is it still up?
Okay, let me see. Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to corroborate what our speaker was saying, that some doctors actually prescribe walks in nature, because I was getting rid of an autoimmune disease and, all kinds of, symptoms just before I moved to Baja. And she's like, what, you're living in Mexico or right by the Pacific Ocean? Okay, I'm telling you right now, I'm writing this on your prescription. Go out and walk in the ocean every day with your bare feet. And I'm like, okay. And I did it. And, it's just like, it's been a healing experience ever since we moved to Mexico and been able to get that salt water. And yes, I'm really, really excited about this idea of this forest bathing retreat. So yeah, I definitely want to keep tabs on all of that and the information about what's happening with that. So thank you so much.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I also wanted to put in a plug for on May 14th. Let's see, May 14th, on Saturday, there's going to be a concert, and this is called Sonic Butterfly. It's with Andrea Brooks, and she's known for overhead harp music. So what she does is she ties the harp strings from one end to the other, and then plays it. So all the sound is going to be over you. And it sounds just beautiful. And that's going to be May 14th at 6:30 at La Mission Performing Arts Center. Excuse me, oh, I know I was going to sneeze. And also on Sunday, the same activity, except that's going to be with yoga, sonic butterfly yoga, and that will be $10. So we'd like to support the theater, support her, so that we can have more and more really high quality performances and concerts like this one. So with our happiness and our health, we can go there and laugh and have fun and enjoy music in the outdoors because it's in front of the beach, and take care of a lot of the good self feeding, right? Self-love that we need to have.
Can I just
Yeah.
add that I've actually experienced her in the harp music live, and it was really cool.
It sounds
Mm.
amazing.
Does.
We should put all this in Tranquilo or somewhere so we can remember to
Okay.
check all the dates.
Maybe on Facebook.
On Facebook or somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Facebook, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you again. I mean, I lost you for a while. Sorry, but Richard and I just wanted to thank you for bringing to our attention that no wonder we're stabilized, because we do ecotherapy now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. If you're a mom of pets or of children, have a wonderful day today. Enjoy and celebrate yourself, and lots of love and kindness and compassion for ourselves and others. Thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
And happy birthday, Anna.
That's Tuesday.
I
Thank you.
know it's
Oh, happy
coming though.
birthday.
It's coming.
It's coming. We've already
And it's
started
not on Mother's Day this year, so that's good.
Okay.
on Mexican Mother's Day.
Oh, well, no, you can't win them all, Anna.
Bye, Doris. It's good to see you.
Yes,